Welcome back. You're watching GlobalEye. India and France have agreed on the usage of the Unified Payment Interface System, or the UPI. Yes, UPI will go live from the Eiffel Tower and Indian tourists will be able to make payments there using UPI. To talk about this, we're joined by the CEO of International Operations of NPCI, Ritesh Shukla. Ritesh, thank you very much for joining us. Tell us first about your partnership with Lyra of France. Is this solely a purely commercial agreement between two corporations, or is it a G2G, government-to-government arrangement?
Thank you for the opportunity to talk about this important, partnership that we are looking at with Lyra. Indians are a big traveler to different European, countries for tourism, business, and academic purposes. And I think France, being one of the big economies there, significantly feature in the list. Through this partnership with Lyra, we are looking at enabling acceptance of UPI-powered apps from India. This would deliver a great deal of convenience for travelers from India. They will be able to use the QR codes that are deployed in that market and make their merchant payments. So a very, very important use case that we are looking at catering to this partnership. And the arrangement is between NPCI International and Lyra. And we are very excited about the possibilities, and we are looking forward to, making the most out of this and, help our travelers, transact seamlessly when they visit France.
Right. So you said that this will begin from the Eiffel Tower. When does this come into effect? And when will users be able to use UPI in other parts of France as well?
So today, as of now, what we have achieved is we have achieved the connectivity between the two, platforms, that is UPI in India and Lyra's core platform in France. Now we are going to work with Lyra to bring merchants, including Eiffel Tower, on board, and we'll start with Eiffel Tower, and and then after Eiffel Tower is onboarded, we are going to work on onboarding other significant merchants, the marquee ones, which are of relevance to travelers from India, and these would include, the popular tourist sites, the shopping destinations, and that's what we are going to do. And majority of tourism from India currently is concentrated in Paris. We all know it's the most visited city in the world. So we are going to be focusing on that, but organically we'll expand to other relevant corridors as well within France.
Right. Give us a sense of the number of countries where UPI is available right now.
When it comes to UPI, there are two key things that we are looking at in terms of the broad strategy. The first is the infrastructure build. The other is the interoperability build. We all know, UPI has achieved great scale in India. We are doing about 9.4 billion transactions a month. Now, using the same infrastructure that is powering the UPI in India, we are working with other, developing countries to help them create their own sovereign payment ecosystem. So that's one. The other is interoperability part, which is about connecting UPI in India with other similar ecosystems. So we are working in both the areas. And when it comes to the first area, which is infrastructure build, I think we are in discussion with many countries where there is high cash displacement, where the government is serious about driving their own national agenda, like government is doing in India. So we are engaged with a lot of countries from the developing world. So that's one. The other is when it comes to interoperability, we have identified markets that are of relevance to India, which means that where there is significant flow from India to these markets, for example, the markets in Gulf, markets in South Asia, Southeast Asia, and North America, and of course, Europe. So we are looking at connecting with those ecosystems to be able to deliver a good user experience when travelers from India go to those markets. In terms of currently live for UPI, we are live in markets of UAE, Singapore, and Bhutan, and there are many in pipeline which will start materializing in next 3 to 12 months.
Right. Could you give us some new geographies where you're talking with partners for?
So, close to in the region, I think we are, discussing what are the important, tourist destinations if you look at in the region. I think Thailand is very important. Sri Lanka is very important. Mauritius is very important. Nepal is very important. So we are in discussion with, relevant players in these markets. And, in times to come, you will start unfolding of acceptance of UPI-powered apps in these markets, as well as in other important markets where Indians travel.
Right. Now, you recently said in the month of June that UPI is currently processing 40% of global real-time payments. How do you expect this to go up in FY24?
I think that's we all are seeing the way UPI is growing on a month-on-month basis. And there are two important things that are happening. One is the user adoption is increasing. So then we are gaining, horizontally more consumers on the platform. And then we are adding new use cases. So we're gaining vertically also on the platform. And a multiplier of these two, will create a lot of adoption and scale in times to come as well. And UPI will continue to play a very, very important role in driving economic activity in India, supporting financial inclusion, displacing cash, and also enabling fintechs to create solutions on top of it.
Right. Could you give us a sense of how many transactions are taking place globally using UPI? How many Indian tourists are using this? What is the level of remittances?
So right now we are live in 3 markets, as I said, and we are seeing a good traction. But given we are starting now, so it's building up in a very healthy manner. And I will not be able to divulge the number, but I'm saying it's very inspiring, it's very exciting. And every time we read from the consumers in social media, when they see UPI or a RuPay brand mark in a market that they travel, it's very inspiring for us. And we will continue to invest in this area to be able to create a larger network so that more and more Indians from India, when they travel, they are able to use their most preferred payment method from India.
Right. My final question, what is the larger commercial benefit that NPCI is getting out of going live in other countries, having partnerships in other nations where there is a huge outflow, where there's a huge presence of Indian tourists?
No, I think we are not looking at it purely from a commercial point of view. We are looking at, creating another use case for our users from India, because UPI is pride of the nation. Globally, everybody is talking about the DPI, digital public infrastructure that India has created, and that includes, the identity layer, the payment layer, which is UPI, and then the, data exchange layer, which is coming in form of, ONDC, DigiLocker, and other things. So I think globally, if you look at it, India's development model is being talked about, and more people want to replicate it. So I think UPI is the pride of the nation. And for us, the biggest driver is to be able to bring smile on faces of the 1.4 billion and people, especially when they travel outside, when they are going to be able to transact using UPI. I think that is going to give us a deep satisfaction, and that is when we can say a job well done. So I'm again saying commercials are not the big drivers here. It's about, helping Indians transact with confidence and pride when they travel overseas.
All right. And one more question. You said that you cannot give us the level of remittances on the number of transactions taking place abroad using UPI. But could you at least give us the geography of the country where the usage of UPI by Indian tourists is the highest?
So I think, we are the largest, inbound tourism supply for UAE as a market. And of course, the flows are significantly important for them as, inbound markets. So I think we have good traction there. When you're talking of remittance, which is personal payments between 2 individuals, we have only gone live in Singapore. And we have 6 pilot banks in India and 2 entities from Singapore who are participating in this pilot. And we are looking at, broad basing that as well. So there are discussions going on with other banks in India to participate in that personal P2P remittance corridor that we have created between India and Singapore. And it's creating a lot of, within this limited pilot group, we are seeing a great amount of transaction and activity. And we are seeing a weekly kind of growth. and we are very excited about it. So we are getting more and more people to participate as banks here in India as well as on Singapore side. So that's very exciting. And not only that, given the excitement that it has created, we are in active discussions with many other countries who, are of importance for remittances to India. We get about $100 billion a month. Sorry, a year. In 12 months, we get about $100 billion. And there are very, very important markets. And these are markets in GCC, North America. So we are talking to, players there to be able to create similar integrations for people to be able to send money to India on a real-time basis.
All right, Ritesh, we've run out of time, but thanks once again for joining us on GlobalEye, telling us about your plans to take UPI global to more countries where there is a large presence of Indian origin people and also a large number of Indian tourists. Thanks once again for being with us. That's all we have for you on this edition of GlobalEye. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.